closed session. At this point, we've already been through the original call to order, the verification of the meeting posting, and the attendance roll call. This time I'll ask everyone to please stand and join Mrs. Blair in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, moving on. Approval of the agenda. A motion is in order to approve the agenda with the following adjustment. I would like to move item 8A, indoor practice facility big package, up first, and then we'll convene through the rest of the agenda as is. Is there any objection to that? Nope. Hearing none. All those in favor of the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, yes. Thank you. All those in favor, state by saying, okay, am I okay now?
You're okay.
Okay.
Well, I should say I motion to approve the
All right.
agenda with the,
As amended. And we have a second. Okay, so we're good. I want to start this off right, so I'm good.
You're
Yes.
good.
All right. All right, all those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the agenda is approved as is with the adjustment. Moving on to item 8A, indoor practice facility bid package. Or, so you did? Here, I
Hang on
can,
a second. Oh, wait.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do is get back in.
you want?
Hang on, one second. I'm almost there. Sorry.
We have to get it to discussion before we can talk, so our clerk needs to recite the actual motion, and then we vote on it, and then, once it's on the floor, then we can start talking, so.
There's no motion in here.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
motion to approve.
Yeah, it's not on mine. Okay. Motion to approve indoor practice facility bid as presented.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? So now that we have the motion that was moved and seconded, it's now on the floor.
Hey, Dan.
Dan?
Thanks for having me. My name is Dan Sherwachter. I work for C.G. Schmidt. He's the senior project manager running the referendum project. So our first bid package that we sent out was for the pre-engineered metal building that will make up the indoor practice facility. So that particular bid package is basically the skeleton and the skin of the practice facility. So we got about 41,000 and change square footage. The building itself will be about 195 by 212. Right. So this includes the structure, the roof panels, the roof insulation, the insulated metal panels that make up the walls, all of the gutters, downspouts, the additional structure support required for all of the equipment inside, and a few framed openings for doors and windows. So we needed to put this one up front just because the design team needs a contractor on board to finish up the structural design and incorporate the rest of the building that ties into it with our selected contractor. So our best point of action was to bid this out ahead of time, get somebody on board, but also have the ability to lock in the price of the building at the same time. So over the last 3 to 6 months, steel has been coming down. So we are in a pretty good opportunity to lock that in before the potential for it to kind of head back up. So we did invite over 9 contractors. Those are kind of local vendors and installers. There were additional people that were invited that were kind of out of state, more toward the south part, Texas area. I didn't include everybody on there because the list will get pretty long, but we had a pretty good bid coverage. and a response. We did get 4 qualified bids. And it looks like Red Hawk Metal Buildings with Nucor as the supplier was the most competitive out of the group, and is slightly under our budget by about $112,000. So I hope I can say that a lot, but the way things have been going, we're going to take this win. So, any questions?
City Board, Jeremiah, are we good?
Yeah, and I wish I could have introduced Dan, but I'm just so glad he's on our project for us. Like, he managed Muskego Lakes and all the other projects we had last time. One of the smartest men I've ever met, so.
And that was my fault because I just gave him the floor and we all kind of know Dan.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
if I took your thunder, I am sorry.
No.
So, any questions from the board? All of this is in concert with what our cow and what we discussed, so.
My question was, have we worked with them before? So you answered that one.
So we're good.
Yep.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Pending no further discussion, all those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Jeremiah. All right, now we are going to move back on to item, item 4. No.
We didn't do consent agenda yet.
I'll just make sure I got this. We're going to move back to item 4, our consented agenda, and a motion is in order to approve the consented agenda in gross.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Is there any item any board member wishes to remove for individual consideration?
I just got a question about
Yeah.
one of the items that's on the voucher. Did it kind of want to be removed? Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, you can.
I just want to know what is a parent transportation contract? In the voucher, there's 47 different entries for that, with about $30,000 with them. What is that?
It's when parents transport their own children, and I can get you more information, and I can send that to the board.
Okay.
Those are contracts that we've had in the past, primarily private school.
Okay.
Thank you for
Sure.
that follow-up. Good?
Jeff, are you including on the employee matters
Okay,
thing?
pending hearing none. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The consent agenda is approved in gross. Moving on to item 5, student representation.
All right, so on the high school level, the student council assisted at the annual Forms and Fees event, providing tours to all the new incoming families. The Warriors 101 Mentor Program welcomed all of the incoming freshmen to Muskego High School, and they were able to help freshmen walk their schedules, meet their teachers, and become more familiar with the school. The student council also had their Welcome Back the Teachers event. All the members were able to help teachers with any final tasks before the first day of school. The executive board of student council also led the first day of school pep assembly, and we highlighted what it meant to be a warrior, along with reminders on how to follow the warrior's way. All of the Muskego High School students had the opportunity to attend the club fair on the first day of school, and they were able to learn about all the clubs and societies. All freshmen, sophomores, and juniors also had the opportunity to take the pre-ACT or practice ACT during the second week of school. The Spanish National Honor Society had their first meeting on Wednesday the 14th before school, and the society is currently offering tutoring to all Spanish students at the high school starting next month. The Science National Honor Society also had their first meeting on Tuesday before school, and they are also now accepting applications. The homecoming week dress-up themes were decided on by student council. Monday is going to be Camel versus Construction, Tuesday will be Generation Gap, Wednesday is Class Color Day, Thursday is Country versus Country Club, and Friday is Warrior Spirit. Theme for the dance was also decided on October 1st, and the theme is going to be Ancient Greece. The girls swim and dive started off their season with many impressive performances. They were runners-up for the Fun Fest, the Shoreward Meet, and Conference Relays, and they were also champions of the West Bend Invite. Girls JV Tennis had their conference on Saturday, and varsity has it this weekend. The girls rugby team also had their first game this past Saturday in Green Bay. And then finally, the girls and boys cross-country teams both took first place overall at the Warrior Invite this past Saturday. And on the middle school levels for both, on September 7th and 8th, all middle school students took their first fall iReady assessment in reading, and on September 13th, 14th, they took their iReady assessment on math. The Muskego Scholastic Chess Club is currently accepting members and planning to have their first meeting on the 5th of October. There's also a book swap fundraiser that is going to be hosted by Muskego Public Library next month. And if you bring a lightly used book, you may take a different lightly used book in return. Both Lake Danoon Middle School and Muskego Lakes Middle School boys and girls cross country teams competed against each other at the Muskego Invite at Lake Danoon earlier this month. At Lake Danoon, all new middle school students to Muskego are invited to attend the Lake Danoon New Student Lunch Group. This group has been meeting every Friday during lunch to help new students get acclimated to Lake Danoon. The Girl Scouts are hosting a candy bar bingo bash this Thursday at Bay Lane. Information about joining Girl Scouts will be provided at this event. The first PTO meeting of the year is today, and it was held at Lake Danoon Library from 5:30 to 6:30. Also, in order to show LDMS teachers and staff how much we appreciate them, the PTO is accepting monetary donations in order to stock the Teacher Staff Lounge from September 19th through the 24th. At Muskego Lakes, they are currently accepting nominations for any member of Muskego Lakes staff to win the Muskie Award. This award is meant for any staff member who has gone above and beyond for others. Last Thursday, students were given the opportunity at lunch to explore and learn more about all the awesome co-curricular options available to them. Some of these include Ski Club, World Language Club, National Junior Honor Society, Best Buddies, Bike Club, Fab Lab Club, and Robotics. The Muskego Lakes PTO is currently welcoming new members, and they plan to meet monthly in the Muskego Lakes Middle School Library at 6:30 p.m. The PTO also hosted the Pastries with Parents event last Friday before school. It was a fun way for parents to spend time with their students as they ended their first full week of the new school year. At the elementary school, students in K through 4th grade will be taking the STAR assessment, or they took the STAR assessment on September 3rd to the 17th. At Bay Lane, students are taking part in an exciting community building activity called One Book, One School. For this special all-school reading event, every family and staff member in the school is reading the same book aloud at home. The award of the month at Bay Lane has been Kindness. To celebrate, one of the student empowerment groups planned a door decorating contest for the school to showcase what kindness meant to each class. Their first PTO meeting is on September 20th at 6:30 in the library. The PTO is also hosting the annual back-to-school Bobcat Breakfast on September 27th and September 28th. All parents and guardians are invited to attend. At Lakeview, the next PTO meeting is on October 4th at 6 p.m. in the Lakeview Library. The PTO is also hosting the Dragon Dash event, and it will be on Friday, September 23rd. The race starts at 6 o'clock at Lakeview Middle School. And finally, at Mill Valley, the Color Run is scheduled to be on October 7th during the school day. This is their biggest fundraiser of the year, and it is a healthy and educational fundraising alternative that promotes positive character qualities, healthy habits, and teamwork while supporting the school. Their first PTO meeting this year was on September 14th at 6 p.m. in the Mill Valley Library. And that's it.
Thank you, Mason. So any questions for Mason at all, other than how the first month of school go?
It went great.
Yeah? No issues? Very good. Or you don't want to say it here?
No, it was good.
Okay, good. Any other questions or comments? Then thank you again. All right, moving on. Item 6, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thompson.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple of reports actually from our Director of Operations, Jeremiah Johnson. So first is on school safety and facility updates, and then the capital projects and facility updates.
Thanks, everybody. I'm just going to go over some of our safety and security updates, where we've kind of been over the past few years and where we are now. This report typically happens in the spring. Usually I bring the SROs with me, so we may do a redo, but we know after the end of last school year with Uvalde happening, this is really fresh on everyone's mind, and so just to share with the public, share with the board with where we are, where we've been, and kind of where we're going. This past summer, as we do every summer, we focused on training our staff in our lockdown procedures. We reinvented the wheel in how we do lockdown here in Muskego. For most of us growing up, it was always the traditional hide in the corner, wait to be cleared. We went to more of an options-based approach. So over the past few years, we focused on barricading, running and exiting, countering an enemy. And then this past year, we really took a look at what happened in Uvalde and how we as a district would respond, and primarily how the police department would respond a little bit differently than what had happened down there. So it was a good opportunity to bring that out in the open and answer staff's questions, and then go through our active scenarios per usual. When looking at the Uvalde, the things that we've learned, and I know some of the information is still a bit murky, the gunman came in through an unsecured door. We are really working hard to positively preach to keep doors in the locked position. We actually know that nobody's died behind a locked, closed classroom door in any school shooting, so it's important that we keep our doors in the locked position. There were 100 shots fired before the police even arrived, and then the building was flooded with police who did not have keys to enter the appropriate rooms. We know that our SROs and many of our police have master keys to the entire district and run training scenarios throughout our buildings to be prepared for any incidents that would ever happen. They also talked about putting their life on the line ahead of anything, so waiting 70 minutes in this situation was a mistake, and I think we're all learning that. Our police shared that they would be going in, putting their own life on the line to help in a situation. During our training, we share that we asked everybody to be aware of Speak Up, Speak Out. It's an anonymous reporting tool that the state rolled out. It is a 24-hour monitored tip line, so that if anybody were to hear of a threat or a concern or even a suicidal concern, you can call this tip line and remain anonymous, and it will go to our police department. So we are proud to partner with the Department of Justice, and that our police department is using this tool readily. And we continue to promote it on our website through some swag and posters throughout our buildings. A little bit of a celebration. We surveyed hundreds of new families regarding why they selected Muskego Norway schools when choosing to come here or enroll their students. Thankfully, number one is academics, but number two is school safety. So the impression of school safety here is an important value to those selecting us. When wondering who makes decisions on safety, we have an emergency response team comprised of many district personnel and law enforcement and fire personnel. We come together and take up any safety concerns that are raised by students, staff, parents, or community members. And so it's really a team effort to come up with really our strategy. We also survey district parents asking how they feel about school safety, and we've continued to climb year after year in the impression that parents have of school safety. We are fortunate to have 3 school resource officers, which are Muskego Police Department police officers dedicated to all of our buildings. When looking at Waukesha County, we have the highest amount of school resource officers per student, and so we're really happy that they are servicing us, not only at their home schools, the middle and high school, but also at the elementary schools. Our police have access to cameras, radios, and master keys. They use our facilities for training and have additional event staff and patrols, and we look to continue that partnership both with the Sheriff's Department that oversees Lakeview and our home schools here. We do random walkthroughs with the police department and the principal and the head custodians and document our findings every month, and we're checking for locked doors, any safety concerns or security concerns, and that's really just to keep it fresh on our mind. And the police department also does an annual evaluation of our schools for safety, just getting a third-party perspective on everything security related. As far as our infrastructure that we've had in place over the many years, we have a visitor management tool which scans all visitors in our school against the National Sex Offender Database. We have safety glass installed in key locations with secure entryways at all of our schools, so no one should just be coming into our schools and wandering the halls without checking in at the office. Numbered windows and doors, which is key during a crisis. Over 400 cameras. Integrated district-wide communications, so we can use a radio to call from here to any of our schools and have that immediate communication. We have vape detectors for detecting vape and marijuana in many of our restrooms. We have posted emergency response procedures along with crisis management within an app for quick reference. Metal detectors to be deployed circumstantially, and severe weather detection and text notifications. We actually have a weather station here at the high school near our bleachers here. We have 50 staff members certified in after-school safety, safety aides at the high school, many training modules that all of our staff go through called Safe Schools. We have many canine-assisted drug searches, random drug testing. We survey parents and students to ensure their perceptions of school safety. And we are part of the city's crisis response team. And that concludes many of the items that we've worked through. And we are always working to get better. We're never satisfied with where we're currently at. We're always looking to grow our program and follow, whatever the newest emerging technology is that's come out.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah. Appreciate the update on that. The next item is the capital projects.
All right. The report to the board. So each year around this time, I bring forward not only concluding the projects we just did, so you guys can see all the money that was invested and where it went and what we're doing, but what we're planning for the upcoming summer. This is important that we do this now because if any of you are opposed or want us to explore something different, this would be the time to do it. It often takes 6 months to procure bids and put together an engineered scope for many of our projects. So by the time I come back in March, hopefully everybody remembers we had this conversation and we'll have those bids presented at that time. Just a little bit about the budget. For any of us that are new to it or may have forgotten, we have about 1 million square feet of schools and 220 acres of grounds. Each custodian covers about 30,000 square feet of ground and 34,000 hours of events each. That's just a nugget as to what we're caring for. We also have about 2,000 work orders that we do a year, and we're able to apply a dollar amount to that. So we internally do about $100,000 of repairs a year. Also, last year's facility use revenue was $109,000. So sometimes we may think that we're charging a lot for facilities, but in all reality, for the amount of hours we're allowing our community to use the buildings, we're just a few dollars an hour after all shakes out. Our general operations for facilities budget is about $2.5 million. That covers utilities, waste, toiletry, maintenance, repairs. And the capital budget, which is what we'll talk about tonight, for roofs, parking lot, HVAC, large renovations is $750,000. So some may wonder, why don't we just build a new school with our budget? We couldn't build a school for $750,000, but we could keep that school repaired year to year. We also have a parking lot budget at the high school of $60,000, which is used from student fees. So we use that primarily just to keep the parking lot and lighting and all that in good repair. We currently have 71 identified projects on our capital plan, and we prioritize those, so we're just not randomly throwing things at the wall. We want to go with the highest priority projects, and so we have a weighting scale for how we select what we're going to do the following year. And just some challenges for everybody here. This is no different than what you're experiencing at home. It's hard to get product in a timely fashion. So Dan was here for the practice facility like 1.5 years in advance. So for us, coming forward now, it's key so we can start bidding for stuff that will happen this upcoming summer. Our buying power is down, so $750,000 this year is probably buying us $75,000 less than it bought us last year because inflation and all of that. Project timelines are a bit shifty because labor shortages, so we've had a couple projects run longer than they should have because labor is tough to find nowadays. And we used to see a ton of bidders. I actually used to get calls from the union when they weren't included in bids, and they would like scold me if I didn't include them. Now it's not uncommon to have one bidder in a bid package, which is kind of devastating because you put a lot of time into that bid package and you want to see competitive bids, but there's not a lot of people jumping out of the woodwork to serve us. So a little bit different than it was five years ago. So the capital projects this past year, we did the Bay Lane Drive, we did roof sections, flooring at Lake Danoon, concrete repair at Bay Lane, remodeled restrooms at Lakeview. We did a water treatment plant at Lakeview. We're currently replacing the parking lot lights at the high school, and Lake Danoon Muskego High School replaced some 20-year-old HVAC and lighting controls. When those controls aren't working, stuff is running when we don't need it to be, or on when it shouldn't be. Just some pictures of completed projects before and after the Bay Lane Drive. This was the first day of school, the first car to drive down the Bay Lane roadway. It is working, and in partnership with the police, it's a much more smoother drop-off in the morning and pickup. Also, we installed a pond here, so a lot of the neighbors weren't too happy about having this roadway in their backyard. However, This pond here catches all the watershed coming off of our parking lot, and it's never intended to be full unless you have 100-year rain, and last week it was full. So it caught all of that watershed that would have went into those nice neighboring homes and put it into the stream nearby. So hopefully they appreciate that as well. We did roof sections at Lakeview and Muskego High School. We have over 100 roof sections in the district. Most have a 20 to 35-year lifespan, but with that many roofs, it's important that we keep up with them because you could do a roof a year for the next 30 years and that would be keeping pace. We did flooring at Lake Danoon, so this was 22-year-old flooring carpeting, so a lot of praise goes to our custodial staff for keeping it clean. We went to a more sustainable product that doesn't need floor finish and it should stay in really good shape for a long time as well.
Which is the new bottom.
Yeah, this is the new one on bottom. Replaced some concrete at Bay Lane. This is the ramp heading down the back. 4 restrooms remodeled at Lakeview. This was really a nice upgrade. These bathrooms were original to the building. We had some updated components, but really just breathed life into these old 60s restrooms. We also had to update ADA accessibility into all of them, so that was part of the project. With that, we did a backsplash there as well where the water fountains were at Lakeview. I thought it was nice to share since 2018 at Lakeview alone, we've redone the parking lot, improved playground drainage, got new boilers, new chillers, new flooring, new paint, new ceilings, new water softener system, remodeled the restrooms, the office, and gym floor, and now we'll be adding a gym to it. So I'm just really proud to say in that short 4 years, it's really become a nice, up-to-date facility, matching the rest of the district as well. This is a water treatment plant that was replaced at Lakeview. It was a very large project. It's also an arsenic mitigation system, so it's important that it's in. It's monitored by the DNR and should serve us for 20 years to come. I mentioned the parking lot lights at the high school. We went to LED maybe 6 years ago. We've gotten a lot of complaints that the parking lots are rather dark during events. There's some shaded spots that don't catch all the light. So we have one light here that represents all of them that we'll be putting in, and it has much better coverage. So we're going to start randomly replacing them to get more coverage even now, and they should get replaced throughout the fall. And we're doing that internally.
The current lights, are they LED?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The current ones and the ones we're going to, the ones we replaced 5 years ago were the brightest we could get in the heads we had. Now we're replacing the entire head.
Okay,
Yeah.
good deal.
We had a CNA program which kicked off this year. This is part to gym in our curriculum program. But this is a temporary classroom on the 3rd floor of the high school, which will be a permanent fixture once the referendum is completed. So this is totally up for discussion with the board, but these are the proposed projects for this upcoming year. Installing a safety office at Lake Danoon, so they'll be reconstructing the vestibule. Muskego High School and Lake Danoon flooring to continue up with that. Turfing the baseball infield, fencing softball, holding money for solar, and I'll get into all of these and the why behind them. And then there's some ESSER projects that have been approved, which is 4K restrooms at Bay Lane, which we're set to design soon, and HVAC upgrades across the district, which we're currently having an independent audit of all of our HVAC systems to determine the highest priority. So each one of those projects is a little different. The Lake Danoon office, you essentially come in and you ring a bell at this doorway right here. So they are in a secure man trap. However, most of our schools have a security office right off of the entryway. So we're proposing taking down this wall and really making that Muskego Lakes feel, where there'd be a countertop in this area and a window where people wouldn't necessarily need to come into the building, and you'd have visibility as to who's in the vestibule versus just looking out the window here. Which means we'd have to take this area here and create a conference room because we'd be losing a conference room. So that is the first project that we're proposing. I talked a little bit about flooring. I know last year when we brought forward the plan, Brett, you had asked for kind of where we've been, where we're going. So fortunate that Mill Valley is all new, Muskego Lakes is all new, Lakeview is now all new, Bay Lane is pretty much all new, all since 2018. So Lake Danoon and the high school have been our main focus of changing out 20-plus-year-old flooring. This is Lake to Noon where we've been, so all the green has been changed out. The red is where it's proposed. This is the office front area, this is the library, and these are some of the specials. We are considering a partnership with some of our youth programs. None of this has been flushed out, but they've been offering to fundraise to get an all-wood floor at the Lake to Noon gymnasium. So the cost to do that, to put wood where the tile is would be $170. To create an all-one floor would be about $270. So they are currently working. This is not proposed right now that we do this, but I just wanted you guys to know it was on the docket in case someone came forward with questions for you guys.
But they already have a wood one.
They have one wood court, it's over here. It's their competition court back
Right.
here. Correct.
They just want a second one?
They would take as much gym floor space. It's really hard on the legs and slippery when you're on tile floor. So for the competitive advantage, it'd be nice to be all wood from their perspective.
Would we, if they did the work, would we be open to like sponsorships like we did in the stadium?
Yeah, so their question was, could they defer their facility use fees, which our policy would afford for that. If they did a donation, we could defer their usage fees for as long as we determined, 10 years or something. Or sponsorships, we could potentially explore that too. The high school, really all of it needs replacing, so we could really replace floors from now until 2030. The first thing we're thinking about is the cafeteria. It's our heaviest trafficked area, and if we could replace it with a product that wouldn't need finishing, we could really have things in there year-round without having to be too worried about closing it off for any extended period of time. So that's where our head's at right now. That may change as we factor in the referendum projects and the timing of all of that. As far as turfing the baseball field goes, we've had drainage issues for the last 2 seasons. We went to spring baseball as opposed to fall baseball, so we are having to have our fields ready by March. This was not just one-time pictures. This was pictures throughout the entire spring. We actually had 24 home games changed due to poor conditions. Likely the drain tiles underneath the field need to be changed out. It's not uncommon after 20 years for roots to go through, for them to get clogged with sediment. In order for us to excavate all of the field, it's probably $100,000 to excavate it, put in a new drain tile system, put it all back. So to go to turf, which would be a maintenance-free product for the next 15 years, is about, what do you think I have up here? $250,000. So it's more expensive than excavating it out, but the nice thing about it is rain or shine, we're able to play on it. So there's not this daily potential cancellation for games, it's just ready to go. We have lights, we have a really nice outfield, so this would just be the infield. And it's just something we've been struggling with for the past 2 years. We currently are renting the Rock for our home games this upcoming spring, and we had to do that as well for this last spring. So kind of a shame to have this facility on site and continue to have to cancel games and move to an off-site location.
How much does it cost to rent the Rock?
I could get you that. I don't know that it's insane, but it's not good for.
Why are we not doing the excavation and redoing it? Like, that should just be a maintenance thing. Why are we not doing that? So that we can have our home games here and,
That's an option. We could just do the $100,000 excavate and make
but
it.
why
all-
aren't we doing it though? Like, that should be something that we're maintaining our fields. Like, it should have been done last year.
Yeah, this current year was our first year that we weren't in the pandemic. So the year before that, when we were in the pandemic, everything got pushed a little bit. So it was wet, but we managed through it. This year was completely unmanageable with the schedule. So,
But you knew you were gonna have problems
I
2
didn't-
years ago.
yeah, I didn't know it'd be to this extent, and I don't feel comfortable just
I mean, I
executing.
feel like we should just be fixing it and making it that it's playable.
That is an option.
But if we turf it, then there's a long-term,
I know, but if you drain
Maintenance
it
free.
and do it right, that's long-term too. I mean, most baseball fields are drained properly. I don't know why ours is having so much problems.
Well, I think
Is it under warranty or something?
no, it's a 20-year-old facility. My suspicion is you put down something called quick dry, So when we need to get a baseball game in, we put down sometimes up to a pallet of quick dry to get it dried out. And
That's just a temporary fix. Why are we not
So-
fixing the problem?
that leads to the problem because that all seeps down into the drain tiles and causes a clog along the fabric. So my theory is all of our drain tiles are clogged. So we have two courses of action. One would be to excavate and redo the drain tile, which we could get on quickly, but I do need you guys' permission with the dollar amount. The second would be to go to turf, which is a maintenance-free product for the next 15 years that's always playable, regardless of the weather.
So if we did turf, we wouldn't ever have to redo the drain tiles? Is that what you?
It would come with it, so they would do the drain tiles
okay.
plus put the turf over it.
Then how much is it to replace the turf after 15 years?
It'd be less because the foundations are all there, so maybe 100, I'm speaking out of turn, but it's a lot cheaper once the infrastructure's in.
I think Ryan had told me it's like 150 or 300 a game at the Rock. So I guess at some point, we need, I mean, is what you're trying to determine yourself, I bet, is do you just do this, or do you do the turf, right? If you do this, you kind of eliminate turf, right?
Yeah.
Or is there a long-term value to have turf, right? And not do this, right?
Mhm.
And just play at the Rock until, I'm just theorizing all this, right? I mean, that's probably what's going through your head, right? Yeah, okay.
I just know that every game that we played on was all dirt. It wasn't turf. Nobody has turf. So it's like, why are we not just doing that? I don't get it. I don't know.
Turf is becoming more common. Pewaukee is going to turf this year. Park Arthur's all turf. The Rock is all turf. It all just depends on the work. I mean, when we go out to prep a field, we have to drag it and line it. And when you put in turf, it's just there. You don't drag or line anything. So there's that, and, nice part as well. How we stew on that? We'll come back.
I say, can we get a, like, for the next meeting, get a cost analysis of lining, how does, what we pay someone to do it, plus the materials and the cost to do it,
Sure.
so that we can do a cost-benefit
Yeah.
ratio.
Sounds good. If we did something on baseball, we should do something to softball for the Title IX compliance. Right now, our fences are heaving really bad at our softball diamonds. They are also approaching 20 years old, so we're proposing replacing the fencing at both JV and varsity baseball, or softball. One thing that will be nice is you're seeing the parking lot here is it's designed to come in with the referendum. After this is done, you have the nice stadium on this side with the black fence. You'd have a nice stadium here with matching fence, so it kind of all come together. This would include backstops that are netted, which we have to do now that we have cars parking back here, so that when balls are hit backwards, they're not flying into cars in the parking lot. So could be an opportune time to do it. There is money in the referendum for this part, and we could close the loop with the rest of the fence.
Is Title IX, is that tied to, it's not just the opportunity, I think it's also tied to, there's some formula about the funding of each, right? That we have to, I can't remember what it is, but you have to, you can't, there's a gap and you can't have that gap, so that you always have to keep, right? I just can't remember what it is, and that's what we're trying to achieve when you say that, right? So if we put all this funding in the baseball, then you need to make sure that that gap is not too wide in the Title 19 other side, right? Yeah, right. So,
We have to
and that
show
will go
that.
for either or. Yeah, okay. Just
Show that.
'cause I'm not sure if everyone understands Title, yeah, so, okay. And that is a law, so that we don't have it, right?
So those are the projects. Just getting into a little bit, I did mention solar up top. It's something that we haven't dabbled in, but it's something we continue to consider. This past year, we've seen a 10% spike in utility costs. This upcoming year, there's a tariff that will start January 1st, which will uptick 12.99%. So that in total is over $100,000, probably even nearing $200,000 more than what we were paying for utilities a couple years ago. So this is just last year's utility bill. This is just the high school. This is just electric. So this past year was $324,000. The year before that was $279,000. So we'll see another 12% uptick to this number this coming year. What we've done to try to wrangle this in is we've installed what's called a dent meter and trying to look at what we can turn off when during a school day. So this was the second day of school, and we watched it live as we started to peak in our demand at the high school. This is just an interesting factoid because it's on all of our utility bills at home. So we got almost up to 1,000 kWs of energy for this span of time. And ironically, when the utility bills charge us, they charge us for this the highest 15 minutes of use is our demand charge, which gets applied through the entire month. And then our highest 15 minutes of the year carries us through the entire year. So these fees just compound right on top of each other. So our goal has been to lower the demand charge. For years, we were focused on this time, like why isn't this off? And why, keep your computers off during downtimes. It's really this time we're looking at now. So over the course of a few days of manipulating some of our mechanicals and controls, we were able to reduce by 400 kilowatts. So we'll see that reflected in a month or so and what that did to our electric bill, but it's kind of a fascinating new technology, and we're trying to beat the electric company. Sorry, Chris. This is interesting. This is Labor Day. So this is what it looks like even when school's not in session, and just keeping the humidity down in schools, even when stuff is off, but we have some events happening. This is a school day, so with that, we're studying various things from solar. We did get some bids a couple years ago, and they were still pretty high. But if we can offset the electrical charge that may come through the additions at the high school with the referendum, that'd be nice. So we're studying that right now and holding some dollars for this upcoming summer. Some other things we're considering is, could we consider levying and fund 80 for facility use? With this meter, we can now determine how much it costs to run a gym for any amount of time. So that's a potential if we decided to go there. Considering solar incentives, it's not been very clear, but the legislation was recently passed a couple weeks ago, and so still looking to see what pans out for schools for solar incentives. Even electric vehicles for some of our vehicles that are running around town all day. We have a cube truck that's done 130,000 city miles in just a few years, so it may behoove us. So we're studying what it costs to run electric cars right now. There's also emerging technologies of electric lawnmowers that can run themselves, and you've probably seen these in like Walmart. They have electric scrubbers that run themselves as well. So all things on the horizon to try to reduce costs.
So electricity is going up.
Yeah, electricity.
Yeah. Oh, well, gasoline is far outpacing what it costs to charge a car. Again, you can charge a car for $1, but to fill a vehicle, to take you around town all day, our vehicle's like $100. We've experienced a little bit of a workforce shortage in the custodial department, where we just started a student worker program this year. So trying it out to see if we, rather than having full-time workers, can work with students. That comes with its challenges too, because our talented students often are involved in many activities and attendance is shifting. So seeing that goes, and just a celebration, we certified many of our staff members this past summer in after-school safety. We know that when the principals go home and teachers go home, oftentimes it's our custodians that are the safety representatives in the schools at night for all of our activities. Now the fun stuff, the referendum progress, we're going to the city in next month with all of our plans, so everything is really drafted and drawn up. So the Plan Commission will be giving us a response as to how they're feeling about everything. We'll be breaking ground in spring for a completion in 2024. So we have done soil boring, and hopefully sooner than later we'll start to see some groundbreaking as winter finishes out here. So we thought we'd show you guys our fly-through, which is an internal look. We've seen the external of the buildings. This will take a look inside. This is all still conceptual. The Plan Commission could change things. Our budget could change things, but square footage wise, this is really the footprint of where we're at. I feel like we should have some music or something.
Yeah, you should.
There'll be a lot of CNC machines in this space. This will be Joe Britt's fabrication lab. This is the welding area which connects autos and the fab lab. That stairwell is heading up into the upper level of the main current school.
Social studies.
Yes. This will be where the trades classroom does outdoor builds, so it'll be contained inside of a building versus in the parking lot. And we can store materials out here underneath the awnings.
So this area is where the current around construction area is right now,
Mhm.
right? So just to orient yourself to where we are in the building.
Currently, you're looking through the wall, which is locker rooms. This will be a couple of labs.
What is the media room?
That'll be photography,
Oh.
which ties to the art program.
So these are current locker rooms too.
Yep. And now in the football lockers.
That's quite a lot more space.
From here, you'd be looking into the lower level down towards the weight room. This is door 10, where a lot of students get dropped off right there currently, but that'll be heading into the new section.
So that's the autos and the autos classroom that we were in before. We did like a circle.
We'll be making 2 new courtyards out of this. We have 2 existing ones, that's why they're labeled 3 and 4. This one could be used during lunch period for spilling out because it's near the cafeteria. So this is currently the receiving overhead door, which I don't expect any of you to know what it is. And now we're in the cafeteria. There's the activities entrance and the sound time gym.
So are these this is where we're bumping out?
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
So this is where the building ends, right here, and this is where the new one is.
Got it.
To the right will be locker rooms.
This is really cool stuff, isn't it?
We're hoping to repurpose the north gym floor down there on the wall. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, they didn't feature the North Wall project, so.
I have some renderings, but it's not. Cool, that is it. Lastly, I just share, with going to Plan Commission, one item that they have some concern with, which I guess isn't a big surprise, is the exterior of the practice facility. So when you research practice facilities from Green Bay all the way down, they're typically metal buildings. So that's what we are proposing with a little bit of a different banding. In order for us to go with masonry around the edges, which might be preferred, is about a $300,000 add. What we have attempted to do is wrap this building with the weight room down here, which is masonry, and it's almost built into a hill on the other side. And so you can really only see it from the street for 26 feet along Racine Avenue, and this is what you'll actually see from that distance. So it's not really a prominent front-facing architecture piece, so we're really hoping the Plan Commission will be okay with this design. It breaks it up versus just being a big gray wall, but we're hoping for not to have masonry, because we'd have to put in footings and all that, so.
I'm gonna be there for that. So I guess I'll see you there.
That wasn't anything related to the place in New Berlin, that their footing wasn't right or anything, that it collapsed? Or was that all roofing, or what was the deal there? Just, I don't know, start with
Anything else, Joanne?
Thank you, Jeremiah.
I did hear come back and talk about the softball.
That was
baseball.
awesome. Oh, if you, well, I think you can bring back bids around, we'll let us, or planner if you want to talk about it.
We'll just send it out, a memo out to us, I'd just like to see the comparison.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
something
just-
that, between now and whenever,
Yeah.
okay, all right, we'll just mail something out, we won't put it on the board agenda. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Something.
the next agenda item is summer school numbers. Jeff?
I do not have a fly-through for you for summer school.
Are you gonna be brief? Thank
It will be brief. Certainly it takes many hands to make light work, and our summer school program has grown tremendously, as you can see in the couple attached items. And I guess before I mention anything else, I just wanted to give a shout out to our administrative team that has built the program, has sustained the program, has grown the program. That's Jessica Prokop at the high school, Josh Griffey, Elise Harris, Nancy Pash, and John McEwing. They've done an outstanding job organizing it. And believe it or not, next month in October, we're actually starting to plan for summer school 2023. It does take a long time to plan, to organize for the number of students that we have in attendance and the number of course offerings that we have. So in one of the items that Ryan pulled up for us, you can see the number of summer school participants that we have. And these are number of students that are taking courses throughout the summer. That's 2,600. So that's over 50% of our students that are engaged in some way, shape, or form in summer school between kindergarten through 12th grade. Pretty significant to see the growth. I don't know how much more we can grow beyond that, but certainly we have a strong administrative team and tremendous support from our staff that are willing to be creative and support the courses that we offer throughout the summer. The other item that,
Does that include activities and classes, so like weight club or weightlifting?
Everything.
So everything?
the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay.
Yep. I was hoping I could say kit and caboodle tonight, I did.
Got that one in there.
Yeah.
That was good.
The other document that Ryan just pulled up for us is the number of FTE by year. And the reason why that is so important to our system, you know, the one number in engaging students and student minds during the summer is super important. But the other number is our FTE, and the reason why that's so important is because that really equates to dollars and cents. The more FTE that we have during the summertime, the more money that our summer school program actually brings in. So I believe last year we had over $1 million of extra monies that were brought into our system based upon our summer school program. So we anticipate that it will grow even more. The exact dollar amount we don't know yet, but we can anticipate that it's going to bring in more revenue for the district. So a huge celebration, not only on the student learning side of things, but then also the financial side of things. Our summer school program is rich and strong and thriving. So that's what I have for you.
Question for you, Jeff. How many classes does each student typically take? Just one? Or or do they do a couple?
So they can take multiple, it just depends on where they fall in the schedule. We could have an elementary or middle school student participate in as many as 3 classes in a daily schedule, but then if some of those students are involved in swim lessons that occur in the afternoon, they could be in as many as 4, maybe even 5, if they take some of the sports camps activities that we offer. And we have some kids that take advantage of that.
But how many, say, average do you think we have?
I don't have that number for you. I
Just
can
curious.
see if we can mine it, but I don't have that.
I'm wondering, because I look at it, and essentially, we have 2,600 students taking summer, and
Different students that are enrolled,
Right.
yes.
and it works out to about 235 FTE. So to me, it seems like, okay, our students are just taking 1, maybe 2 classes on average?
No, it's by the hour. It's
Yeah.
how many hours are put in, so, like this, yeah, so how many hours do they have to put in to get 1 FTE? I can't remember.
And I know we're comparing, FTE is the whole year.
No, it's like 10,000 or something, like, it's a lot of hours, that 1 FTE, and it doesn't mean 1 person.
Right.
That means out of the 2,600 kids that are here, times, like how
Right.
many hours, that's what gets to the FTE.
Right, and I know
So
with
yeah.
FTE, it's a year, I mean, it's based on an actual full
Yes,
school year.
yes.
And we're only talking, what, 6 weeks in the summer or so?
4 weeks for
Or-
elementary, 6 weeks for,
Yeah.
and then like weeks and days for.
Yeah, so I know it's not even gonna, it's not a real comparison.
Yeah.
But I'm just, in my mind, I'm trying to think how many,
When kids come, they usually come for more than one thing.
okay.
I would
That
say
is a
that.
general rule. Most kids don't come for just one thing. They come and most kids stay for the elementary, they have a little break, they have an opportunity to stay for the day. And that's when the shuttle is too, so parents like that, where they can get the shuttle working for them and stuff like that. So, yeah, that would be the general
So I'm
rule.
just, seems like they're, I don't wanna say maximizing it, they're taking advantage,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
but, okay.
It's been so fantastic, and Jeff mentioned those APs who are involved, but we've had a history, like when you're an AP, you have to have some additional role. And like Andy did AP, for example, that was his additional role. And so we've had so many really strong leaders in the summer school program that has helped build and bring new ideas every time. I mean, like when when swim lessons came about, like, holy cow, it was huge. It was just a huge bump, just like always looking for something, so it's really great. It's really great. Great team.
Thank you, Jeff and Kelly. And
Thank you.
That increases funding from the state, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
A lot? More so than during the school year?
Well, each one of those FTEs is what we would get for a regular student, So yeah, it supports, and so that's why we're able to do the shuttle, and we're able to, pay staff to be here, it's still, that summer school program supports our regular school year.
It
Just like
does.
4K
Okay.
supports our mission is K-12, regular school year. And then when we can have other opportunities to support that through 4K, through summer school, that's what we do. So those are the revenues.
we can leverage our finances,
That's right.
which is a big piece.
Yep, it's good, and it's awesome for kids, absolutely awesome for kids, so. The next item, thanks very much, Jeff. The next item is WSB Regional 11 meeting, so that's on October 18th. If you're interested in attending, it is at a different place. It is is it Davian?
Davian's in the.
Davian's, yeah, so if you're interested, let Lori know, and she'll register you. And then the contributions to the profession are listed there. Thanks, Jeff and Jeremiah. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson.
You're welcome.
Moving on, item 7, other reports. On the president's report, I actually do not have anything except welcome back to the students in the school. And it's been a very quiet start of the school year. So I very much appreciate that. Busing and whatnot seems to be going on fairly well without a hitch. So I appreciate all the back end conversations and administering of all that, so thank you. Board member.
That's
Yep.
words fussy. Right? Which is huge.
Board member reports. Kevin.
Nope.
Lori. Tracy.
I just have CISA one's thing attached to our reports. And I actually looked through them and nothing was sticking out to
I
me
thought
this time.
the data one was good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that one.
And actually, when I thought, I'm so science-based, so when I saw science for a reading series, I thought it was science-based, but it's all about reading. So it's just like a technique of how to learn how to read, but yeah.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
And our meeting's tomorrow, just so you know, so if there's anything that comes up.
It's always
let me know.
after, yeah.
It's always the one day after.
All right, Terry.
Nothing.
Brett.
I've got a couple things, all WBASB related. Kelly mentioned that October 18th is the regional meeting. I am up for re-election and there is somebody running against me, so we need at least one board member there, please, to vote for me. I need at least one vote, please.
And we can't have multiple votes. One person.
Each board gets one vote.
One vote, so.
Yeah.
Each board or
Each board.
So if we had 6 people there, we still only get one vote.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, yeah, why would we vote for somebody other than, okay.
Exactly. We also, during that, the presentation, I believe that's mentioned in the flyers that have been going around. We did a survey over the last year to make sure that as an association, we're addressing the needs of our members. That's a danger, I think everybody knows what happened with the National School Boards Association. They deviated way beyond what their members wanted, and they're in a heap of trouble for a number of reasons. And so we decided we need to really make sure that we're addressing the needs of our members. So that'll be presented, kind of the overview of what's happening there. And the third thing is, Mr. Buckmaster graciously volunteered to serve on the Policy and Resolutions Committee as one of the Regional 11 representatives this year, so thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, Brett.
It can be a lot of fun. We can get in a lot of fights, but it's very interesting. I think you'll enjoy it.
Cool.
And actually, did you get your thing through the mail from WSAB? Because I just did for my level 3 award or whatever.
If you got your level 3, it'll be presented there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you should go.
Maybe I should go.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll pick it up.
If I have statistics on Tuesday nights, so if it's every other Tuesday, so I'll see, because I saw it was a Tuesday. I'll see if I'm able to go.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde. Moving on, item C, committee reports. Terry, do we have anything?
We do.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyer.
Yes. The Educational Services Committee met tonight. Andy and Courtney shared some information and we reviewed our new curriculum hub, which shows all of our curriculum on our website, replacing the old one from last year. It's very nice. Got an overview of a new unit that called Child Protection Unit for the, like a stranger danger type addition to the Human Growth and Development Fund. And then she went over 3 math pilots that they are currently doing and hoping a recommendation of one to use by spring of 2023. And then they would start that following year to study that one. Hey, I got it all right. And they just started the math pilot of the 3 to pick the 1 this year. And then the classroom library collection, which is a K-4 initiative to give each teacher 150 books, which would start out their classroom libraries. It will help new and beginning teachers so that they all have something to start with. And there'll be a teacher review committee going over all 150 of those books in October. So our educational service meeting will happen once a month now going forward. It will be used for updates, touching base on different things. So at the next meeting, we'll have some things brought forward, tying our math classes to STEM. And our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for October 10th. And that's all I've got.
That's good. Thank you, Mrs. Boyer. That ends our committee reports. Moving on, item 8, resolution action items. Item B,
Item B, motion to approve policy revisions as presented.
Second.
So moved.
well, that was wait a minute, that was the reverse.
I thought
Yeah.
you were
Okay,
moving to
let's-
that.
Even I picked up on that. Okay.
So what are you,
So-
first?
I'll be first. She's
Okay.
second.
Okay.
All right. Okay, the motion is on the floor. We do have a request, a comment card by Mrs. Rachel Meyer. Please step up. If you could just state your name and address.
Rachel
And
Meyer, W145 South 6975 Brentwood Drive.
The floor is yours.
Oh, right. I don't know if this is on or not, but you can hear me, right?
We can hear you
Okay,
fine.
so my concern is about Administrative Guide 5500, the change to that. Particularly, as I'm just jumping to my notes here real quick, there's C3, which has the addition of, or results in differing expectations for participation in classroom discussions and activities. This is in referencing to student behavior and possibly removing from the classroom. My concern is, I'm concerned as to how this policy change may impact students with individual education or 504 plans participation in the regular education classroom, particularly students who may have a behavior intervention plan or differing expectations already in place. I don't want students to lose opportunities for participation in an inclusive environment due to this policy change.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on the policies before us? Just remember, this is the second time this comes before the board again in October for final passage. Any comments, concerns, or suggestions? We've heard from Mrs. Meyer, thank you. And
Can I just clarify with her though? So are you expecting to have something added to the policy in regards
Go
to?
No, my thought is it wasn't necessary to add that highlighted section.
oh,
So,
so
'cause
that's what you, okay,
That's what
all
I was
right.
saying. That section, if you can see, is highlighted, because
Yes.
that's an addition.
Or results in
So
different
that
expectations?
addition is when I think of students with IEPs, many of them have differing expectations for participation in the classroom. And so if some of them have behavior plans, which may cause a little disruption in the classroom, is this going to impact their ability
Got
to
it.
participate in an inclusive environment?
Do you
No.
have a comment on that?
So that was
It
my
will
concern.
not, that's why they have plans. They have special accommodations or modifications to their learning environment. That's why it's a plan and there has to be agreement on that. So it will not impact students with.
So these are for other students
Right.
who may not be identified as that.
So then just to provide some clarity of thought for me, if you're in a classroom under existing policy and you have an IEP or 504 plan, that plan supersedes that, and that is an accommodation made above and beyond what the guide or the plan or our policy states. Is that correct? Does that help?
That helps me. I know,
Okay, good deal.
I'm guessing it's just by law, not necessarily needing to be stated, that an IEP supersedes the policies?
Correct, that
It's part of that
absolutely is,
information.
right.
Yeah, thank you for that
Yeah,
clarification.
because I was
That-
like, what does she want us to kind of
Yeah.
change or do? So, thank you.
Okay, back to this. Any other discussion on any items here? If not, and you have any final questions, please let staff know. If there's any reason that any item needs to be pulled before the next board meeting, please let me know. Yeah, otherwise, all of these will be brought before the board for action in October. Good? Okay. All right.
And the changes that are noted on there are coming from NOVA, right? Or
Neola?
Neola, right?
Some are, some aren't.
Some are, okay.
Yeah.
Some were feedback that we gave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, This will
Because
be,
some are just like, there's nothing even there.
this will be,
Yeah.
well, it's a review,
Yeah.
So this will be the first passage, and then these will be on the board agenda again in October. So hearing no further discussion, all those in favor state by saying aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. They will be brought in October for final passage. Thank you for your comment. Moving on, item 8C, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion to approve with thanks the following donations. Lake Danoon Middle School Musical, Muskego Performing Arts Council, $5,264.92 to the Lake Danoon Musical. Muskego Lakes Middle School Musical, Muskego Performing Arts Council, $5,264.92 to the Muskego Lakes Musical. And the MHS Girls Soccer, Muskego Warriors Soccer Booster Club, $250 to the Muskego High School Girls Soccer Team.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hearing no other discussion, and an awesome thank you. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on, item 9, for discussion items, we have none. Item 10, you have your information follow-up. And under B, communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law, I have none.
Chris, can I just ask a
Yes.
question about the aid?
Oh, sure.
Is that typical they have that money to support the staff hirings and hirings? It just seems like it's a lot.
Yeah, we've had quite a hiring season. This past 12 months, we've turned over or transferred 100 support staff positions, so it's been out of 300 support staff. So we're hoping to improve our retention.
I understand we did well getting teachers at the start of the year, but we still have some struggles with the support staff. Which is true everywhere.
It is.
Is there a way that we can retain more?
That's the $1 million question that every company's trying to figure out right now, is retention. Everybody wants that.
Well, I mean, we have retention bonuses at our hospital now, trying to keep people, so, I mean, is that something that we want to explore?
We did a deep dive with our leadership team into a lot of data and a lot of potential causes, and still continue to look, but there's been more than 1 million women that have exited the workforce since the pandemic, and our workforce is primarily women, and so we've seen a big dip in applicants. We used to see 2,000 people apply for a job over the course of the year, now we have 800, and we have well over double the amount of vacancies we had during those periods. So it's just this perfect storm. Maybe things shake out, maybe they don't, so it's just continuing to study and react.
That was one of the discussions we had last week in the WSB among each member, just side discussions, how many teachers do you still have to hire? A lot of them are still, 10, 12.
Right. Just wonder if there's something we can do.
We're
All
continuing to
put our
explore
thinking
that.
caps on.
Yeah.
To try to get, I mean, maybe it's, I don't know,
Coffee mugs and t-shirts.
dog service or, something for the health, I don't know, it's like.
Well, for our district, it's being the
Surely
best one out there.
Right, right, but
That's
there's
why we
some,
got 6 years in a row that one of the top workplaces in the world.
yeah. All right.
We're looking at that,
Okay.
studying that as well.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, having no other business before this Board of Education, a motion to adjourn is in order. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.